Ladies and gentlemen, our program is about to begin. Please find your seats. Thank you.
Have a good time, take a break. Bang with another verse of the chapter. Straight to the heavyweight for worse or better. Bitches in a wake back in vicinity. Slaying DJs with a rhyme capability. Listen to the jam as we go wild. Check your MC as game versatile. Me and a lady hall megatone. Rock you up in the twilight zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors. From the United Nations Color Guard, Dale Webster, United States Army, presenting the American flag. Ben Skenendor, United States Army, presenting the United Nations flag. Ken House, United States Air Force, presenting the State of Wisconsin flag. Arthur Cornelius, United States Air Force, presenting the POW flag. Please remain standing and welcome to the stage Lawrence University professor and voice contestant John Holliday as he sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting you're still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the brave. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what an amazing crowd. I can't tell you how good it feels to see you all here live. Welcome to the New North's Playbook for Recovery Summit. We are so glad you're here. Thank you to Oneida Nation, Color Guard for the representation of our colors this morning, phenomenal. And thank you, John Holliday, oh my. Sharing your voice and your leadership on St. Lawrence's campus and all that you do. I had the pleasure to talk to John prior to the event and his journey to the voice and his impact that he had there. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for your contributions here in New North. It's amazing. Events like this don't happen without the involvement of so many. We'd like to thank the Summit Planning Committee and Amazing Events and Coalesce Marketing and Design and Studio Gear and Insight Publications and all of our collaborators that made this event possible. Thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to our Summit sponsors. Please see them on the screen and the tables in your program. An event like this cannot happen without the wonderful partnership of all of you. In addition to our speakers, we'd like to recognize the elected officials and dignitaries here today. From the office of U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, Jennifer Gardner, State Senator Rob Coles, Brown County Executive Troy Strickenbach, City of Appleton Mayor Jake Woodford, City of Green Bay Mayor Eric Gingrich, Village of Ashwaubenon's President Mary Godowski, Village of Howard Administrator Paul Evert, the Village of Little Chute Administrator James Fenlon, and Wrightstown Administrator Travis Coonan. Thank you all for being here with us today. Well, what a year it's been. I think that's the only way we can say it. What a year it has been. Last night we had the opportunity to say thank you to our healthcare professionals for their heroism through fighting the COVID on the front lines. Amazing work. Today is truly a celebration of our businesses, our organizations, our communities for pulling together and really having the progress through the pandemic. You'll witness today our region is well on the road to recovery. Here's what we have in store for you for the first part of our morning. A video that reflects only a sample of our business growth submitted by our contractors and developers. We will have messages from WEDC Secretary and CEO Missy Hughes, Green Bay President Mark Murphy, and our keynote, Tim Moore, who will leave you with an impactful and heartfelt message about giving back.
Thank you, Vicki. And that's not all. When we come back for the all-important networking break, you will learn more about the new Manufacturing Alliance and all the great things that they're doing with their upcoming 15th year anniversary. In keeping with our football theme, you will hear powerful messages from Kim Bassett, Dr. Andrabi, Michelle Schuler, and Joe Kurgis, our offensive, defensive, and special teams players of the year. You will also see the power of partnerships with a sample video of projects all across our region supported by our ever-important local partners. And we are grateful that Governor Evers was able to adjust his schedule to join us later this morning. We will end the day by honoring the Workplace Excellence Award winner, enjoy a tailgate luncheon, and experience our very first ever high school drumline performance. So hang on. This past year, with our recovery, the program we have planned for you will be very informative, fast-paced, intense, just like our last year was. We hope you all leave here with the feeling of being energized and so proud to be part of New North.
Thank you, Vicki and Barb. We are very thankful for our board of directors who have worked alongside Barb and our co-chairs. Vicki has been a long-standing member of our board and served as co-chair for 4 years. She, along with Bill Bowen, led the search for our new president and CEO, strengthened our budget and operations plan, and she's always that calm voice of reason. Vicki, we are incredibly grateful for your service to New North and the communities that reside in them. To reflect our gratitude, we have a small token of our appreciation.
Aw. Oh my goodness, thank you. Oh my gosh. So, thank you. I'm honored. Being part of this organization has been a privilege for me. I thank Barb and the team and my fellow co-chairs over the years, Bob DeCook and Bill Bowen and Tim Schneider, and all of you, our investors and our collaborators that make all of the good work here in Northeast Wisconsin. But for me, this journey is personal, right? I mean, I grew up here, not far from like right here, and I intentionally moved back to Northeast Wisconsin to raise my kids here. And so the work for the New North and what you all do is personal to me, because now I'm looking, hopefully, that my kids come back here and raise their kids here. So thank you. It has truly been a privilege. Thank you.
With any corporation, large or small, you need a succession plan. It is my honor to continue to serve as co-chair alongside our new co-chair, Michelle Schuler of Microsoft. For those of you who know Michelle, she's a driver of innovation and partnerships and is already serving the New North well in this leadership role. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Barb, Vicki, I got big shoes to fill. You're going to be missed, but we know you're not far. We can always call. And, you know, it's great to be working alongside all three of you, along with our board, our team, our stakeholders, our investors. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I look forward to being co-chair with Tim and following in his leadership as we move Northeast Wisconsin forward. So thank you.
Even during the pandemic, the growth and development of our region continues. We are pleased to show you a sample of other construction projects that occurred in 2020. We thank Stellar Blue for their assistance in this production.
Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is a strategic partner here in the New North region. WEDC, we value our relationship with Secretary and CEO Missy Hughes. She has been a large part of the conversation and action for pandemic recovery. In our region alone, over $57 million worth of grants were extended to small businesses, cultural organizations, in support for out-of-school entities. And more is on the way. Missy's strong and inclusive leadership brought many partners together to help in our state's recovery. Please help me welcome WEDC Secretary and CEO, Missy Hughes.
Good morning. Wow, I'm really stunned by that video that we just watched, and I'll just have to say to all of you that we stayed at the Door Hotel a couple weekends ago, and it's absolutely beautiful and fantastic, and you should put it on your list of places to stay. It's so good to see you all, and I have to say one of the things that I'm most excited about this morning is I get to walk around and talk to you and not have to sit in front of a little box and feel like I'm not seeing anybody, and it's so nice to see all of your smiling faces. I'm so incredibly optimistic about what's happening in Wisconsin and our recovery. You know, throughout the pandemic, I tend to be very optimistic, but I also tend to be a worrier, kind of a strange thing, and I worried, like, what's gonna happen when we start to come through this and when we start to recover? Will we truly have a recovery? And the energy that we're seeing in Wisconsin and the energy that we're seeing in the nation as far as moving forward is really incredible. And it just gives me such encouragement about what the future holds and what we can do to continue to gain momentum and to work forward. So I thought I would tell you about a couple of things that we're working on, that we're focused on at WEDC, and then talk a little bit about New North. So at WEDC, we're really focused on 4 things. And don't worry, I'll go through them quickly. When somebody says 4 things, you're like, oh Lord. So the first thing is small business. You know, we have seen during the pandemic the incredible impact and importance of small businesses in Wisconsin. And when the pandemic first hit back in March and we saw what was happening, we sat down at WEDC when we were still in the office, and I looked at my team and I said, okay, where's the list of small businesses? And they were like, yeah, we don't really have that list. And I was like, okay, well, we have to find the small businesses in Wisconsin because we have to help them, and we have to reach out to them, and we have to make sure they have what they need. Because remember, these are the small businesses, the cafes, the hair salons that were places of gathering. And they were the first impacted by this, and, you know, indeed continue to be the last recovering. And so we sat down, we found those small businesses, and over the course of the last year, from June of last year to the end of June this year, we will have helped deploy over $650 million to over 150,000 grants to small businesses all around the state. And it's really like, okay, now I have that list of small businesses and I know where they are and I know how we can continue to help them. So at WEDC, we're incredibly focused on how can we continue to support our small business industry around the state, our Main Street businesses, our little cafes, our gyms, all of these places that are incredibly important to our quality of life. And no matter what size business you are, you need to be able to have a workforce that lives in your community, that supports your business, supports your community, participates, is able to go to Main Street and do some shopping, keep those local dollars there. So it's really incredibly important to us. And we've been able to meet amazing small businesses all around the state. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with business owners who have invested their life savings in their business, who their kids are working for them, and who just want to keep doing what they're doing and want to know how we can support them. An example is A&A Transportation. This is a husband and wife, pastor, and his wife Lacey, who started a business during the pandemic. They bought 3 Sprinter vans and wanted to help with delivery. And they saw that, you know, like, okay, everybody's getting everything by mail right now or by whatever kind of delivery service. And so they bought 3 Sprinter vans. And before they knew it, they had a contract with FedEx. And today they have not only those 3 Sprinter vans, but they have 2 semi-trucks that are doing deliveries between Milwaukee and Chicago every day. They have Black women drivers that they're training how to be drivers, and they're hoping to create a life for their family. The ANA Transportation is named after their daughters. I don't know what their names are, but it's ANA, and they're hoping to pass that on to their children and to create that wealth that we all are, looking for prosperity and to be able to have family-sustaining careers and take care of our loved ones. At WEDC, we're also focused on entrepreneurship and innovation. It has been, to me, an eye-opening experience to understand how incredibly important entrepreneurship and innovation is to grow an economy. And at WEDC, we've been watching that very carefully, because something that could happen during the pandemic is people could contract and say, I'm not going to take any more risk. I'm not going to take that product to market. I'm not going to leave my job. I'm not going to, I need to stay kind of like a turtle in a shell. But what we've seen in Wisconsin is the exact opposite. People are starting businesses. They're going after their passions. They're hustling, and they're making things happen. And we need to think about how to support that. And that's one of the reasons why the governor has included in his proposed budget a $100 million venture capital fund to support entrepreneurs, to make sure that entrepreneurs have the capital to grow and stay here in Wisconsin. And that would live at WEDC, but our goal would be to work with partners like you, corporations, whoever wants to invest in Wisconsin's entrepreneurs, and to make sure that we can keep those entrepreneurs, like Alex Tytink, who is with Fork Farms. And Alex was living in Brooklyn. He grew up in Appleton. He was living in Brooklyn. He's an opera singer. And he decided to get really involved in healthy eating. And he realized how hard it is to have a consistent supply of good greens, basil, tomatoes, spinach, kale. And he built and came up with the idea of building a self-contained hydroponic place to grow greens. And so he has come back to Appleton. He's gotten investors here in Appleton. He's working with Titletown Tech, and he wants to create his business here. He wants to manufacture these units here in Wisconsin. If you go into 1919, you can see one growing there with the lights, and the chef comes every night and picks greens and serves them at dinner or at lunch. So it's just really incredible to see that kind of entrepreneurship. And of course, what he's really trying to do is to solve a problem of healthy eating and making sure that we all have access, whether it's kids in school or at institutions or in our homes, so that we have access to good, clean, healthy food. And so this is the kind of entrepreneurship that we want to support at WEDC. Of course, at WEDC, we also work with large corporations. That's our wheelhouse, right? We want to support our industries in Wisconsin, and in the past year, we've been able to support companies like Molson Coors as they expanded in Milwaukee. We've had the opportunity to work with companies like Hewlett-Packard when they made the decision to stay in Chippewa Falls and to keep incredible engineering jobs in Chippewa Falls, and we were able to work with them and make that happen. And we worked with partners locally to do that. We worked with the energy companies, but we wanted to make sure that those companies stay there. One of our shining stars, Oshkosh Trucking, we all need to remember during the pandemic was awarded a $6 billion contract with the United States Postal Service for the next generation of low emission and electric vehicles for the post office. And what's really critical to remember about that is every bit of that engineering is happening here in Wisconsin. And Oshkosh is setting the bar for what we're going to be doing across the nation to make sure that we have the right vehicles on the roads for our environment, to get things done, and to make things happen. And that engineering is all happening in Wisconsin, and we need to be incredibly, incredibly proud of that. The last thing that we're really focused on at WEDC is community development. This is something that we've always done, helping projects come forward, making sure that when a community has an idea and there's a financing gap, or there's something that we can do to support that, to make that idea bigger, better, whatever they're looking for, we can help with them. One of the projects that I'm most excited about at WEDC, one of the things that I was really happy to get the call about at the end of December, or beginning of December, was Missy, we're trying to put together a purchase of property. Brown County, trying to put together a purchase of property in order to set the first domino in motion to move the coal piles away from Green Bay. And we were able at WEDC to turn around. One of the things we get to do is act faster than normal state government. We were able to turn around a grant of $500,000 to help the purchase of that property and do the first thing to get that, what I fondly call, pile of dinosaur bones out of the middle of Green Bay and really help with the revitalization of Green Bay. So I am so excited to have been a part of that and to see that unfold in the next few years. None of this would be possible without partnerships of groups like New North. And I have to say that a couple people last night to me said, Missy, every time you come, you're such a champion for what's happening up here. And it's because you make it easy. You make it so easy with the collaboration that you do in this community. From the very first time I visited when I started in this role, going to the UW engineering building, I've seen how the companies and the community come together to work together and then bring us in when we can help. And it's just really incredible. And I think it's the secret sauce of the New North region, and you should be incredibly, incredibly proud of it. During the past year, New North has taken up projects that are incredibly important, not only to the region, but as models to the whole state. Projects like upskilling our workers and helping them access better paying jobs, family sustaining jobs. Projects like the equity and inclusion work that New North is doing, which is so incredibly important. If we want to have a workforce for the future, that needs to be a diverse and inclusive workforce. And in order to have a diverse and inclusive workforce, we need to be diverse and inclusive here in Wisconsin. We need to be welcoming. We need to make sure that anytime somebody wants to come and move here or stay here, we are like, yes, 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 we want you here. Absolutely, we don't care about anything except that we want to welcome you into our neighborhood and into our communities, and New North has incredibly modeled that, and I'm so grateful for the work that you've done, because it is important that we're all saying these things out loud, and we're all working together, because it's a huge challenge for Wisconsin, and we need to overcome it. So I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you. I'm so happy to be a partner of New North. I'm thankful to have all of your strength working for Wisconsin, and I so look forward to steamrolling forward in our economy with all of these things that are so important, whether it's our small businesses, our entrepreneurs, our large businesses, and our communities. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to work with you in the coming years to continue to make Wisconsin as best as it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you for being such a great partner here in the New North. We look forward to continued strong partnerships to build the Wisconsin economy for all. Aligning with WEDC, New North's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Task Force has identified areas of action in K-12, young professionals, entrepreneurs, small business, corporations, and the community. Even during COVID-19, I had the chance to form a special relationship with African Heritage Inc. And that was all virtual, and it's events like this today that allow me to meet the team that I've seen on screen all year. And so this is near and dear to the work that I do here in the community in Northeast Wisconsin. So our goal is for the New North to be the catalyst for regional prosperity for all through collaborative action. And we look forward to that support by all of you and all of us here in the New North. So thank you. Our next presenter, Mark Murphy, President and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, has exhibited exceptional leadership beyond the football field, including supporting the growth of new businesses by launching Titletown Tech, and more recently, working to address racial inequities in entrepreneurship, collaborating with the Brewers, Bucks, and Microsoft to launch the Equity League Venture Fund. Mark led the creation of the Green Bay Packer Mentor Protege Program. Before Mark comes to the stage, we have a short video on the program narrated by Anna Steinfest.
In late September of 1918, the Spanish influenza struck the world and had the most profound impact on our nation. It impacted millions of lives, including the life of the young Earl Louis Lambeau, known as Curly Lambeau. He left a successful Notre Dame football career to return to his home in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where he found work as a shipping clerk at the Indian Packing Company for $250 a month. Flu and pneumonia outbreaks continued through 1919 and into 1920. But that is when everything started for Lambeau and George Calhoun. These friends decided to continue their dream, to do what they had been doing on their own terms before the world changed. They wanted to own their future. So they raised $500, bought 25 jerseys, borrowed a name from a local meat packing company, and created a franchise football team that would last over 10 decades. They believed that their tiny town had the talent, the people, and the passion to compete with the best that anywhere else had to offer. A little over 100 years later, history repeats itself. And here we are, stuck again in the midst of a pandemic, where many small businesses are battling global virus issues. Today, businesses must take the same decisions as Lambeau to adapt with full determination to continue their dream, to do what they had been doing on their own terms before the world changed so abruptly. 100 years later, it's the same belief which inspires our mentorship program. Green Bay continues to generate some of the best talent, the most creative innovation, and the strongest will to overcome impossible odds. The unparalleled 1919-based belief that there is no safer or surer bet than investing in ourselves. Mentor Protege program has now guided 96 proteges, directed the creation of 366 new jobs, and generated an annual revenue increase of more than $78.4 million. That's not a charity that depends on goodwill. That's not a donation that can come and go. That is a permanent investment in the talent and the people and the passion of this community. And that's really what this is all about. Lombardi believed that leaders were made, not born. At the foundation of the Green Bay Packers Mentor Protege program is a goal to construct a strong foundation for the next generation of leaders with a deep connection to people and the values that were worth taking a bet on in 1919 and are just as worthwhile betting on today. These same values impacted those $500 and 25 jerseys in 1919 and developed it into one of the most inspiring, long-lasting legacies in the league and in the entire country. So a toast to a team coming together to accomplish 100 years of impossible dreams, and to a community coming together to accomplish 100 more.
Thank you. Well, first, welcome to Lambeau Field. It's great to be able to say that. I haven't been able to say it for a year and a half, but we've just really the last week or two we've started to have events back here, and I echo what a lot of people have already said. It feels great to be back with people, without masks, and really excited about it. Want to make a couple thanks. Well, first of all, how about Anna Steinfest? I don't know how many of you have had a chance to work with Anna. It's really a tribute. She had a vision, and boy, and she has a passion. That's for sure. She has built that really built up the Mentor Protege program. It's statewide now, and we're really pleased to have been at the ground floor with her. Oh, by the way, I feel like a dinosaur. I'm using a podium. You know, all these other people have fancy microphones, and it works for me, though. I do want to give special thanks to New North for all you do for the region. A number of us were talking earlier. Now, I've spent most of my adult life in either Washington, D.C. or Chicago, bigger metropolitan areas. And, you know, I look at Appleton and Green Bay, they're like right next to each other. And we need to work together. And, you know, that's, I think, one of the great things about New North is we're looking at the entire region and not individual cities or towns. So it's very positive. I want to thank Barb Lemieux for her leadership. It's been great to work with her. And I really would be remiss if I didn't mention Michelle Schuler. Boy, what a difference she has made in this community. She talked a little bit about Microsoft and Titletown, and just I couldn't be more pleased with the partnership that we have with Titletown. I do have to mention Brad Smith, Appleton's own. He has really been a driver of this. But I tell you, having Microsoft all in for this community and this region is tremendous. You know, some of the things that Michelle is doing with TechSpark, just outstanding. I'll talk a little bit about Titletown and particularly Titletown Tech and the Equity League. Things that we're really excited about. I think when you look at the long term, the impact that, and we're starting to invest in some of these startup companies that we think really could be tremendous for this region. You know, in terms of the playbook for recovery, the Packers, and I'll just talk a little bit, you know, I think most of you realize we're very unique ownership structure. We're community owned, and for us, really giving back and supporting the community is at our core. And particularly during difficult times. And by the way, I don't know how they picked some of the video from the Spanish flu in 1919. And I've been with the Packers 14 years, and I didn't know some of the connections there with Curly, but some of the parallels are very striking. But as an organization, we wanted to make sure that, well, first of all, our employees and our fans are safe. That's been a priority since the very beginning. And some of the things, well, and the other thing I would say, the NFL, and it's a tribute to the league and the protocols that were put in place, but we were the only league that played a full season during the pandemic so far. And knock on wood, we got all the games in. Didn't always have fans, but I do think, especially for our community, even though we didn't have fans in the stands throughout the entire season, I think from a from a distraction standpoint, to be able to focus on something other than what's going on in the pandemic, having games being played, you know, being able to question, you know, should we have gone for it on 3rd and 4? Things that took your mind off of things, and it was very positive. But beyond that, really trying to do what we can to help people get through the pandemic. Early on, we set aside, I think it was over $500,000 for COVID relief grants to immediately get money to organizations that are helping those that were really most impacted by COVID. The other thing, quite honestly, is just PSAs. You know, using our players, our head coach Matt LaFleur. You know, that they are prominent people in the community that people will listen to, and when they talk about, you know, making sure you wear masks, you stay socially distant, you know, all we know about really encourage the importance of doing those things. Quite honestly now, I think the biggest issue in terms of a playbook for recovery is the vaccine. And we've done an awful lot trying to educate people. You know, unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of myths out there about the problems, you know, and some of the issues that we may have with vaccines that are really not accurate. And so what we try to do is have PSAs just encouraging people that the vaccine is not only safe, it's effective, And it's not only good for you, it's good for the common good. And we wouldn't have events, be able to have events like this were it not for the vaccine. So still have a lot of work to do in that area, but we're going to continue to push. You know, I mentioned being able to play games during the season. We have a great working relationship with our local health officials, Brown County Health, Anna Desatree, and then Bellin Health. A number of people that we've worked with there, and they were instrumental. You know, we started with no fans at all. Eventually, we had just invited guests, and then for the playoff games, fortunate enough, we had 2 home playoff games. We were able to have paid fans there, spread out. The league didn't like it. We gave out signs. I don't know if you remember this, but during our 2 playoff games, we gave out signs for people to hold up because we had, I think it was like 10, 12,000 people. Well, our fans were creative and they used the signs and they started banging them on the bleachers, and the league said that it was an illegal noisemaker. But I just said I think it's just creativity from our fans. You know, we talked a little bit about Titletown. You know, and I was glad to see on the video that we've been very, very fortunate that with Titletown we've been able to move forward with the construction of our townhouses. Actually, we've had first owners have moved into their townhouses about a month or so ago. We're going to have 50 to 70 townhouses. We're building them as we sell them, and that has been going well. And then, you know, the other part of it is the office complex. I joke, and we call it an office tower. Only in Green Bay is a 6-story building considered a tower, but it's very tall. So we have an office tower, and things have gone well there. Myron has done most of the construction in Titletown, and they're taking a big office space within the office tower. And then we're going to have an office complex. It's going to be very unique. And then in the middle of the office complex and the tower, we have a podium. And then underneath the podium, we don't have underground parking, but we have covered parking. And those, we all know what the winters are like here. That will be very popular. But that's going to be a public area and really adds to Titletown. The other thing that I would say in terms of Titletown, we were closed at the beginning of the pandemic, but you know, fairly quickly into the pandemic, we realized that we could open up safely. And I think that's been a real haven for a lot of people in the community, whether it be the tubing hill, the skating trail, the playground, the football field. It's been really gratifying. Those have all been packed. Obviously, during the pandemic, it's free, but I think it's really been great for the mental health of the community to be able to get outside and be active and do things while you're still in the middle of the pandemic. You know, I thought I'd just to talk a little bit about our season and the team. Some of you may have realized we have a situation with our quarterback. I don't know if you've that's my attempt at humor, sorry. So all I'll say is, in terms of Aaron Rodgers, obviously he's a tremendous talent, reigning MVP. And we've been working with Aaron for a number of months to resolve some of the concerns that he has. But we remain committed to having him as our quarterback for 2021 and beyond. I'm often reminded, though, we have Ted Thompson, I think most of you know, just a great general manager who passed away this past year, earlier this year. Often talked about Aaron, that he's and it wasn't just Aaron, a lot of different players, he would say, he's a complicated fella. So I'll just say that. But, in terms of the season, obviously, coming off, and I give a lot of credit, to our head coach, Matt LaFleur. Pretty amazing what he's accomplished in his first 2 years as a head coach. 13-3 both years. 2 years in a row in the NFC Championship game. I think this last year was really disappointing because I was so proud of, as an organization, how we had handled everything during the pandemic. I think it's challenging for all businesses, all companies, but keeping our players safe with all the testing and the protocols that put in place. We really had everything set up. You know, we had home playoff games at Lambeau Field. We were the #1 seed. Needless to say, season didn't end the way we wanted, but still think there's an awful lot to build on. So I give an awful lot of credit to Matt and also Brian Gutekunst. You know, Brian's obviously getting a lot of attention in the media now, and I tell you, I couldn't have more confidence in Brian. You know, what he's been able to accomplish as our general manager in a relatively short period of time. You know, you think back, you know, in 2017 and 18, we were not a very good team. We had two consecutive losing seasons, and you know, he's made all the right moves and got us back to playing winning football, championship football. So I have a lot of confidence in him and Matt, as well as Russ Ball. You know, the other thing I'd say, you know, very early in my tenure in 2008, we faced kind of a similar situation with our quarterback at the time, Brett Favre. And I'll just share a quick story. During the middle of that, my father, Big Murph, I think some people have heard this story. My whole life, I've been Little Murph. My father was kind of a larger-than-life character. But, and you know, when I started with the Packers late in 2007, the Packers actually were in the playoffs, had 2 home playoff games, and you know, my father played football in college, you know, loves football. So I said, Dad, why don't you come up? You can go to a playoff game, and at Lambeau Field, and he'd never been to Lambeau Field, and he was excited, but we couldn't really work things out, and said, no, listen. It's no big deal. September we'll have home games. You can come up. Well, he ended up getting brain cancer and passed away in July and was unable to come to Lambeau Field. So a lesson that I've learned is, you know, when you have an opportunity to do something special for a family, don't put it off and don't let details get in the way. The other thing I would say, this kind of started the way I view our media. Not that I don't like our media, but so in the middle of dealing with the Brett Favre situation, media said, so this was like in July, late June, early July, my father, I got the call that he was about to die. So I wanted to go down and spend some time with him. And our local media said, where was Murphy? Instead of dealing with Brett Favre's situation, he was on vacation in Florida. And so I'm trying to get over that, but the last thing I would say, in terms of, and I mentioned my father I always thought he was kind of corny. He had what he calls his pearls of wisdom, things like, you know, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Don't sweat the small stuff. And the one that has kind of stuck with me over the years is, you know, keep things in perspective. And when you go through, and we all go through difficult times and situations in our life, in our lives, and you do get through them. And I think sometimes it's good to take a step back. And I do remember a speech that I once heard Condoleezza Rice give, talking about being involved in crises of all different kinds. And when you step back and you look at it from a longer-term perspective, things that seem really big and very difficult are really just a blip on the bigger picture. And that's kind of the perspective that I've tried to take when I'm dealing with stressful issues. You know, the other thing I would just say in terms of our upcoming season, I'm very optimistic. I thought that our draft went very well. Everybody says that about the draft. If I like the draft in 3 years, that's a good thing. So we'll see, but I do think we helped ourselves. We're in the middle of our 3-day mini camp, so it's been really good to see, particularly some of our rookies, see them out and out in the field, competing with our veterans, and very optimistic. I think you know, the leadership that we have in place between Brian Gutekunst and Matt, have a lot of confidence in them, and really excited about the future. The schedule's exciting. When you win, the league is very smart. When you win the division, you have a challenging schedule the next year. This has been kind of interesting. one of the things we changed for years, the NFL, I think since 1978, has had a 16-game regular season schedule with 4 preseason games. Reality is, as time has gone on, the preseason games really are not as meaningful as they have been in the past. So as a player, a former player, I kind of look at it and say, I understand the issues with going to 17 regular season games rather than 16, but in my position that I'm in now, I really think that it's better for our fans, it's better for the game. So we are going to have 17 games this year, and as a result of that, we get a chance to play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. So that's the schedule, but it should be exciting, and I'm really optimistic for this upcoming season. Just in closing, again, I want to thank Barb and New North for all you do for this region. And anytime you want to have a big event like this here at Lambeau Field, you're more than welcome. Thank you.
I'm going to be a dinosaur too and use the podium, but thank you very much, Mark. Really appreciate it. Words cannot express the gratitude that we have for the Green Bay Packers organization and what they bring to the region and the state overall. We really look forward to a continued partnership and another great football season. No pressure, but we're also looking forward to you bringing the Lombardi Trophy back home where it belongs. All of us at USI Insurance Services are very proud to be the platinum sponsor for today's event. We're really grateful that you all took some time out of your schedules to be here today. Appreciate that and appreciate what all of you do to help our communities in the New North region grow and prosper. We also appreciate that many of you have selected us as your trusted advisor for employee benefits, insurance, and retirement plan services, and we appreciate that trust and confidence, and we'll continue to work hard to earn that. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote presenter, Tim Moore, who is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning director. He connects with his audiences through emotion-driven stories, dynamic visuals, and compelling audio. Tim has collaborated with some of the world's most admired brands, including Gatorade, Hyatt, and USAA. He specializes in creatively ambitious projects for creatively ambitious people. As a curiously driven entrepreneur, Tim has become a leading expert in purpose-driven marketing over the past 10 years and has developed emotionally compelling campaigns for brands all around the world. He's the author of Sold on Purpose, a comprehensive guide to purpose-driven marketing, a copy of which you all would have received as you came in. And Tim is also the founder of the Tampa Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit focused on inspiring communities through positive public messaging. Tim's message today is one of reflection on the resiliency of our region during the COVID-19 pandemic, the power of social impact, and an inspirational message about not giving up. You know, we held a Healthcare Heroes event last evening to honor the men and women on the front lines fighting the pandemic. Tim was very gracious, and he gave a special presentation to reflect our gratitude. So please help me welcome Tim Moore, and while he makes his way up to the stage, we'll take a look at some of Tim's work as well.
Thank you. And good morning, Green Bay. It's exciting to be here today and see the energy and the enthusiasm in the Wisconsin business community. I'll tell you, for the Road to Recovery, it seems like you guys are already on your way, and you can feel it's contagious in the room right now. I'm from Tampa Bay. It was 80 degrees when I left yesterday. It was 90 degrees when I landed here. So it seems like you're ready for summer already, too, and well on your way with that. But I'll tell you, what an incredible community there is here. Last year, we look back at 2020, I think, man, so many crazy things had happened that we always talk about the bad. But I want to remind you where we were at in February. Because February, we had an economic phenomenon. For 109 straight months, we had job growth. This is the best unemployment we've seen since 1969. The markets were incredible. In fact, we were setting records every single week. I mean, this was an economy that you would pray for. It was incredible. But at the same time, the measure for this success was this big green elephant in the room right here, the dollar bill. And I'll tell you today, I want to ask the question, from an economic standpoint, not how good are we doing, but really rethinking that into how much more good could we do. I think this year has given us a time to reflect that maybe economies are more than just this. I'll tell you, I'm an advertiser. Advertisers are the worst. For 100 years, we've rebranded the American dream to life, liberty, and the purchase of happiness. And I'll tell you this, that how is it that the wealthiest country in the world has the highest rate of depression? The suicide rate continues to increase. Household debt's higher now than it's ever been. How is that so? That if satisfaction's for sale, everyone's so broke. I think that there's a bigger purpose to our economies than just money. The narrative for business over the years has been that the purpose for business is to make profit. And I understand you need profit in order to survive, in the same way that you and I need food in order to survive. But the purpose of my life isn't to eat everything I can. No, there's a higher purpose than that. See, I think for businesses, the goal of a business is to find your gift, and the purpose of your business is to give it away. I look back, I found my purpose 15 years ago in a very unique place. The beginnings of Diamond View happened in the Caribbean, in this island, Dominican Republic. I got a flyer, it was at church, it said a missions trip with a palm tree on it, Dominican Republic. I had no clue what a missions trip was. I thought it was like an excursion you go on after the cruise, or like the mission's gonna go find that palm tree on that island. And as I get to the airport, I realize this is a completely different kind of trip. There's pallets of water. We have medical supplies and shirts. So I'm asking around, what are we bringing all this for? This seems like a lot of excess for us. And they tell me, well, it's not for us. In fact, one of the counselors comes over and he hands me a camera. He says, Tim, you're gonna be the video guy. I said, the video guy? I've never run a camera before. And this thing's 100 pounds. It's a big, looks like a suitcase. It's a VHS camera. I tell this to young people, they have no clue what I'm talking about. They're like, what app is that? I'm like, forget about it. He gives me this camera and I said, I don't know how to work this thing. He said, it's easy. In the airport, he teaches me how to do it. He says, there's a button on the back. When you press it, the light blinks red. Whatever you point at goes in. Whatever goes in comes back. He said, just bring back the memories of this trip. And so I pack this thing up. We land in Santo Domingo. And we never went to the beach that week. In fact, we went to the center of the island near Haiti, where it's a completely different world. As a 15-year-old kid, I had never seen a world like this before. People would drink out of the gutters of the street. They lived next to a landfill. They would take the trash from the landfill and build their houses out of it. And this is something I never ever seen. And I'm sitting there getting a third world education on how to shoot video as I'm watching this happen. And I only had one trick. I would zoom in, Tim. I would just zoom into the scene, and I would look for people's faces because it's so different on video. When we're in person, there's this bubble. No one ever gets past this 3-foot mark because it just feels a little awkward. But with the camera, you could zoom into someone's face and you could see the condition of the life they've lived. There's a story there that you never have in person. That perspective, I got hooked on it. And I'll tell you, I left that week and I came back And I made this video. It was my first video, amateur video that I would show to the church. And we put it up on the screens, much like this. I found this effect that when you take video and you make it big and you make the sound large, the feeling is just so much more impactful. So as I'm sitting in the back of the room, I'm waiting for the standing applause. I'm thinking, I know once this ends, they're going to feel it just the way I felt it. And the video ends and it's dead quiet. And my heart drops and I'm like, oh man, that was not what I was expecting. But as the lights come up, I could see that people were actually crying. They're wiping away their tears. And the pastor comes up and he says, hey, for anyone that wants to help these people, we're going to pass around a bucket right now. And I saw as a 15-year-old kid in the back of this room, people giving money to people they never met on an island they'd never been to before for a cause that 2 minutes ago, nobody in that room even knew about. I thought, wow, that's powerful. I thought, that's the kind of advertising that I want to do. You know, there's something about when you do things that matter that makes it so meaningful to come to work every day. And so for 3 years, I volunteered at that church until I was 18. I decided I'm going to start a business. It's called Diamond View. The only problem was I was in the community college of my community college where I lived. Called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm starting a professional video production company. He said, really? So yeah, it's called Diamond View Studios. I said, Tim, one problem. I said, what's that? He goes, you don't have a camera. I said, well, yeah, you know, my buddy has a camera. I'm going to borrow that. He goes, no, Tim, you don't even have a computer. I was like, well, I'm in the library. I got tons of computers right here. And he was right. You know, at that time, I didn't have anything but the dream that one day this would be a little bit bigger. We'd be able to make a real impact. For a year, went on borrowing my buddy's camera and doing as much as I can. My girlfriend at the time worked at an ice cream shop. For 5 months, she was secretly saving up. And on Christmas, she buys me my first camera. This changed my life again because now I had the tool that every single day I could continue to work on. And professional cameras were expensive, especially back then. And so this is a big investment on her part. Yeah, I married that girl. Today, we've been married for 8 years. We got 2 boys. Thank you. Someone buys you a gift like that, you got to. You can. You're for life on that one. She's my high school sweetheart. And in fact, our last names are both Moore. So a lot of Moores at the wedding. But yeah, people always ask. I know I'm from Florida. Are y'all related? No, we're not. Just to get that up, just in case that comes up later. But this is the next coolest thing that happened was that my roommate at the time, he was studying to be a doctor, and he would help me out, you know, from time to time. Now I'm 2 years into the business, and I convinced him that, hey man, you know, I know you got this medical career ahead of you, but come over to the dark side and help me build this dream. And he comes over, his mom hates me, you know, for the first year, and I thought, wow, now that was the moment where I realized, now I'm successful because I got 2 guys. This thing just doubled. My business doubled overnight. So me and John, the next year, continue to grow this. We're getting all kinds of business. And we grow from 2 people to 5 people. And then another event happens that changed my life. I get a call. We had done a video for this event. It was called the Tampa Bay Tech Forum. And the Tampa Bay Tech Forum is much like this, an event where you know, they would have entertainers on stage and they would show videos and they would give awards to some of the best businesses in the tech community. Well, I made the video for this event and I get a call from a lady named Sharon and she says, hey Tim, I loved the event you put on. We're wondering if you can come meet with another business who wants to do a similar event. I said, sure. Where are we meeting at? She says, Lakeland. Lakeland's a small town outside of Tampa, you know, nothing really going on over there economically. And so I show up, I'm in a t-shirt and jeans, and I walk into what's Bright House Networks. This is a $9 billion communications company. And I realize right away, this might be a different kind of meeting. And she takes me back to the boardroom, the executives line the table, and she says, this is Tim. Tim produced the entire event you saw. The lights, the sound, the acts, he did it all. And I'm sitting there holding my breath, knowing that all I did was the video on the screens. And from the other side of the board table, they said, well, Tim, great news. We have an event coming up. It's in 2 months. We're way behind. Our vendor left. It's at the Tampa Convention Center. And we want you to put it on. You did a fabulous job. You could do that for us, right? He looks at me and he's nodding his head, and I'm looking around the room, sweating bullets. And I said, of course we could do that. So we take on the event. 2 months later, we put on what's becomes the largest regional business event in Tampa Bay. 2,000 people show up to this convention center. The whole idea of the event was, if we could make a screen large enough, all I'll do is play videos the entire time. You know, that's the only thing I knew how to do. And so we did it, and it turned into 3 years of doing this event. Our team grew from 5 people to 20 people, and soon before we know it, we were at 25, 30 people. But I had an epiphany as this growth was happening, and that was on this intersection. You see, where we're at is at the very top of Tampa, or at the northernmost part. Once you go past this intersection, you're not in Tampa anymore. But down this street goes right into downtown, where you can see all the skyscrapers. I had been working that night till about 4 a.m. in the morning, and this was often, the case for us. A lot of times the client will say, "Hey, we love the video," but as an artist, if you don't get the final touch on it, that thing will haunt you for the rest of your life, because they'll continue to play it over and over, and you wish you changed the audio or tweaked it a little bit. That's the problem with being an artist. You never know when to put down the paintbrush. And so we worked all the way till 4 a.m. on this. And at this point, I'm a little bit delusional. And I'm driving home, and John is in the car in front of me, and I'm right behind him. And if you've ever been caught at a red light when there's nobody around, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. It feels like hours. I'm sitting there. There's not a car in sight. And so I'm thinking what any normal person would do is, okay, I'm just going to blow right through this red light here so I can get home. And I look around, I look in my side view mirror, and I realize there's not a single person from this street that goes all the way into downtown on the entire street. And so I get out of the car at this point, and I'm looking out here, and there's not a single person that I could even hear. And I thought, wow, I've realized the advantage right now that we have in the business, and that is nobody's out here working like we're working, because they didn't want it like we wanted it. And going home at 4 o'clock that night, I thought, man, that's what we have to do as business owners, is to realize, what can you do to find your passion where it doesn't feel like work anymore, that you're the latest one out of the office and it still feels like play. I'll tell you, passion is something that when you put energy into it, you get more energy out. A lot of people relate it to infatuation, this burning desire, and I'll tell you, it's nothing like that. It's more like love. Love, you have some hard days. Ask my wife. Love is complicated. It's always there, but it's not always easy. And I found that when you can tap into the thing that you love, you start to blur the lines between your labor and your leisure, between your education and your recreation. You really start to blur the lines between your work and your play. And that was something that really took us to the next level. We had grown to about 30 people at this time, and I needed a bigger building to move into. And this is a cigar factory right here in the corner next to a community school. And in Florida, the community schools, the way they work is about 95% of the students walk to school instead of being bused. And so every day at 1 o'clock, we would have hundreds of students walk by this building. And I walked outside with one of our guys at the time, and I said, "Look at this, man. Look what we got." And he looks in, he's like, "Yeah, it's a mess. We had bought this as a foreclosure. We knew we needed to fix up." Like I said, no. Look in a little further, see what we got. He's like, "A building?" I said, no. We got the biggest billboard on Bears Avenue. If we could turn this into a mural so that the students see it every day. So I thought, this is going to be easy. We just got to get rid of these trees, put the art on the wall. And then I found out that removing a tree in Hillsborough County is like murder. I put in a permit and instantly denied. And so the second permit I put in, I was like, all right, let me just describe. It's for the community school, the kids that walk. And I put that in, denied again. And I was like, okay, maybe they're not reading this right. So the next one, I put an essay. I staple this together, send it in, and I get a call. It's a lady by the name of Lucy. And she says, "Hey, Tim, I just want to let you know the way the permitting process works is that if we deny it the first time, we're probably not going to ever approve it." I just wanted to let you know that. And I said, okay. So I did what any normal person would do. I put in 3 more permits. And they got bigger and bigger. And then she calls me back again. And this time I could tell the tone has changed. She says, Tim, you're creating more work for my department than I need right now. If you put in another permit, we're going to start fining you. And I thought, oh man, I'm not going to win this game. So I stopped for a year. I completely just give up on the idea. But we got something in Florida that you guys don't have out here that's an interesting phenomenon. And Lucy calls me up in September 2018. She said, hey, is this Tim? And I said, yes. She said, this is Lucy. I don't know if you remember me. And I was like, no, I have not forgotten. She said, well, you know, this week coming up is the hurricane. And I said, yeah. She goes, well, I just want to let you know that for the county on the week of the hurricane, we don't look at permits for tree removals because we understand a lot of trees fall. And I said, what are you telling me? She said, I'm not. I said, oh, well, all right then. And that week, 12 trees fell on our property. And today, the Dream Big building came out. So you never know how things will work out. Sometimes persistence pays off, but it's not always on your own timing. This today has become really a landmark. People come from all over and take photos with the Dream Big building. And so I thought I'd take it one step further. I thought, man, what a great asset for the community. Now I want to do it at the school. And so I called the same county. I said, hey, you know, we would love to do a mural right on the campus of that elementary school. And they said, well, Tim, you know, things are a little different. That was a private building. You know, this is state-owned. You can't just go painting on other people's buildings. And I said, well, what's the process to do that? They said, well, you'd have to have a nonprofit. You'd have to get the superintendent to sign off. You have to do this and that. And so we took that back. 6 months later, we created a nonprofit. It's called the Tampa Foundation. It's created for doing inspirational artwork around the community. And we asked her, said, all right, now can we do it? We really want to do this. Said, well, you know what? It's not going to be that easy, but I'll let you guys start with the sidewalk. So we started with the sidewalk and had the kids come out to help us out. We did 200 feet, put some positive inspirational words on there as well. And we get a tweet the next day. It's from Hillsborough County Schools. And they say, hey, this great thing happened. The superintendent takes this tweet and retweets it. He says, this is a great idea. We should do more of these. So I print out that tweet and I send it into the county. And they said, oh, all right, now you guys are good. Now we're in. And so for the next year, we do 10 of these in the elementary schools all around. Today we have 12 other murals in Tampa. They're all anonymous on the side of the road, just inspirational messages, kind of like a fortune cookie as you're driving by. And this one here in the tower that's right over the downtown. But I'll tell you, it's a little thing. You know, as someone's driving to see a little message in their day. But I'll tell you, it can have a profound impact. One of the muralists that we use, he did a mural that said clean, C-L-E-A-N, on the side of a laundromat. A laundromat in a community where they would throw the trash on the ground and no one really kept it up. Before he finished this mural, he's working on the last letter, and a guy from across the street walks over. He's bawling. He says, thank you so much for making this mural for me. And the muralist is a little bit confused. He's not making it for him. And he said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you know, for the past 15 years, I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol. 2 months ago, I got clean. He said, 2 weeks ago, I moved in that house across the street. And when I came out this morning and saw the mural you're making for me, he said, I want to let you know I'm going to stay clean forever. The muralist is sitting there. He can't tell this guy he didn't make it for him at this point. He's stuck. So he said, you're welcome. And the guy walks across the street. A single word like clean could change someone's life. And so we think that that's the power of business. You could do something, don't ever think it's too small. Something so small can have such a big impact on someone else's life. We continue to grow, and this is inside of our business in Tampa, but we also moved to Atlanta and Miami, and we've had a lot of success over the years. But I realized along the way, as our team was growing and our studios were moving around and our clients were changing, that I had lost track of that thing that I learned 15 years prior in the back of that church, that I wanted to make advertising as good, that was going to be my goal. Because the more success we got, the more success we wanted. And so there was a point about 2 years ago where I said, you know what, we got to get back on track. We got to do that thing in our business, in our core business, that really makes change. So I want to show you this video to show you that turning point.
Don't be fooled. Get hundreds of exciting.
Instant.
Refreshing. What's it taste like, dude? Incredible. $40 value. It's very cool to follow the rules.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve. And where down we go. And where down we go. Where down we go. So where down we go.
I realized, thank you. At this part of the journey, we had so much potential. I mean, now we have a big team, we have a big dream, and we thought, man, if we can really go after this, we could change the world. I think that the stories we tell today shape the world that we live in tomorrow. And so it's important what we do, especially as advertisers. We have a deep responsibility for our youth. And so I wrote a book on it. It's called Sold on Purpose. I said, you know what, there's a new kind of advertising coming, a conscious advertising where the things that we say, they mean something because people are following after this. There's more people watching TV on the phones in their pockets now than there are on the regular screen. And all those messages going around, they compile into the society that we have tomorrow. So I wrote down these businesses, the case studies of what I saw and I loved, like Tom's, who's created not only a corporate enterprise, but a social enterprise, doing great things around the world, like Tesla, you know, who has a mission for sustainability more than just selling cars. Patagonia, they make documentaries like Damnation that talks about how when we mess with the rivers and streams of our natural wildlife, what happens with that. And so, you know, I realized there is so much more purpose in business. I gave a 2-hour talk on this after the book came out. And it was at a university, and one of the kids afterwards says, hey, Tim, you know, great talk, awesome book, I really like that. Just to let you know, there's a 2-minute video on YouTube that says everything you just said. I said, really? He said, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but the Japanese culture figured this out 500 years ago. It's called Ikigai. I'd already published the book at this time, so you'll see it's not in there. I said, okay, so I go back home, I watch this video, I said, wow, this is genius. I don't even need to publish the book anymore. This right here is the best way I could describe finding purpose in your life and in business. And it starts with the top thing, you know, figuring out what you love. If you know what you really love, you'll never work a day in your life. And so the challenge with this, though, is that this is a 4-tiered circle here. You can't just find what you love, you have to find what you're good at. You know, if you love singing but you don't have the golden pipes, that's gonna be a tough career. You know, if you wanna be a basketball player but you're 4'5", I'd suggest otherwise. You know, the idea is that you have to find what you love, but it's gotta match what you're good at. Because there's a lot of starving artists out there who love what they do, but they haven't figured out how to make that a career. And the bottom one is, what can you get paid for? You found your passion and you found your career, but is it sustainable? Can you scale it? And the final thing is, what does the world need? If you can figure out all these buckets, it becomes very clear what you'll be most successful at. And I realized that not only did we have to use all of our potential, but also find our platform. As business owners here in Wisconsin, you have so many resources and an incredible network. To be able to use that platform and tell your story in a way that you can continue to grow your purpose, I think is unparalleled. So I'll show you a little bit of what we did joining a community called B Corp.
I go work in the morning, don't get off in the night. I can't find no time to clear my mind.
When we got connected with this community of people that believed that business could be used as a force for good, it was an accelerant for us to really go after that mission. But today I want to leave you with one final thing, and that's how you tell this story of your purpose. I've been telling story for 15 years now, and I realize that there's just one story told over and over again. Joseph Campbell wrote a book on this, and he talks about the monomyth. In Greek mythology, one myth told a million ways. And the monomyth, the way that it works is and today we call it the hero's journey. There is a underdog, and the underdog is in a broken world. He receives a gift from the mentor, and he goes into that broken world and he changes it. He becomes the hero. That's the hero's journey. And you see it in all this. Neo gets the blue pill from Morpheus, goes into the Matrix, and he saves the world. Luke Skywalker finds out the Force from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he goes into the galaxy and saves it. Moses gets a burning staff from God. He parts the sea, and the Israelites escape. This story is just the structure of how you tell the story, but it happens over and over again in life. And so I realized that, man, if we can tell the stories that are meaningful to inspire other people to go after their purpose, now you can create an effect that ripples forever long. So I'm going to show you a quick video of this and then break it down so you can see the hero's journey in it.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
125 decibels right there.
We're gonna have to clean this up. Where do you want me to stand? I just walk up, introduce yourself maybe one more time. Okay. It's cool.
And then when they look around, you guys are completely normal, like nothing happened.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Can I have a hot chocolate? So you just do you want a double espresso or a single?
Double is fine.
Okay.
You got whole milk?
I do.
Let's do it.
Okay, do you want a medium, large?
No, medium.
Medium, and do you want that for here?
Yes, please.
All right. Let's get this going for you. Do you want that for here or to go? For here is fine. Okay.
All right, get ready. 3, 2.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
That explosion.
No. Just making some coffee. What's the weather like outside today?
Freezing.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cold. That's why I live here.
He's gonna shake it. Get ready for dog barks.
I don't know why I do it, but sometimes I just have to shake the beans too. Thank you very much.
What was that?
What was what? You guys enjoy the day?
Thank you.
Let's get out of here.
I don't know.
Hey guys, come on over here. We've got cameras right here, and we've we've got a camera right here, a camera back here, a camera right here, one right back here, one right up there. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna take you in the back here. Just go on through. Thank you. Oh, you okay? What happened there? I'm veering you onto the one coffee I know how to make with my 4 hours of training as a barista. So, did you notice at all that no one else is reacting to
Yes,
the noise?
uh-huh.
How'd that kind of make you feel?
Alone?
I just wanted somebody else to be on the same wavelength as me, because I felt like I was the outcast and nothing happened. Nobody looked around and looked at me, and nothing.
How'd that make you feel?
Isolated?
What would you think if you had to deal with the same things you dealt with today, every day?
That would be debilitating. It would be scary to even leave my house because you don't know when or what to expect from day-to-day life.
That's what 24 million US citizens deal with on a daily basis. It's not mostly veterans. Really? A lot of people go through a lot of difficulties with post-traumatic stress. Did you hear the dog bark? Did you hear the car wreck?
I did, yeah.
I was a Green Beret. I lost 5 friends in a 6-month period. You know, it's hard. It's just a memory or emotional attachment to something that they need to work through.
It's jarring. And not just my personal, but to hear the numbers and to hear your story a little bit and know that people are suffering in silence. It's always been the sort of thing where you don't really talk about it, and that's not right, you know, if we're gonna heal. You know?
Chris, come here, brother. Get another hug from you. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I really do.
Right on, man. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing
Yeah,
this.
of course. Thank you.
So this shows you a little bit about that hero's journey. You know, in this, the customer is the underdog. They're walking in, they don't know what you know as you're watching this. You know, they come in and they meet this barista, not knowing that he's going to be a mentor to them, to tell them, to give them the gift of enlightenment, to tell them what's happening around the world with PTSD. And then at the end, we walk out and that same customer is the hero because they're going to go out and share the news. And that's the important thing with the hero's journey, is to realize that you are not the hero. You're the mentor. You know, Green Bay and Wisconsin, you're telling the story of how the world should be. And then the world becomes that hero that can change. And so today I want to say thanks again for having me. I really feel that if you find these 3 things, your passion, your potential, your platform, and you tell that story, I think that's where true recovery is. You know, every addict, alcoholic, compulsive gambler, they'll tell you that, you know, recovery isn't getting back to where you were. That's what got you there. Recovery is going to where you've never been, doing what you've never done. And I think that's the kind of recovery this economy can have. And I think that Green Bay could have one of the best stories ever told. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Wow, thank you so much, Tim, for a powerful and inspirational message. That was really touching, and I think we're all going to take something away from that. It's been a busy morning so far, but I'm sure you're getting a little bit antsy. Maybe need to get up and refill your beverages. And we also want to encourage you to network. That's one of the reasons why we hold this event, so please take some time, meet some new folks. We'll take a 20-minute networking break, and then we'll come back, and we have a lot more to cover today, so thank you very much.